I sat on the sofa, clad in a custom-made evening gown, but my mind was adrift, my eyes fixed on the document on the coffee table. On the clean white paper, a few black words stood out, as cold and sharp as a blade: divorce agreement. In 3 years, I had never felt as clear-headed as I did now. My marriage to Arthur was a transaction from the start. That wedding, which had rocked high society, was nothing more than an alliance between the Capet family and the Barkley Group. There was no love in this union of powerful families, only calculation. Less than a month after the wedding, Arthur left for overseas, citing the need to expand the international market. And I became the solitary mistress of this grand estate. For 3 years, his communication was sparse. Only the regular, enormous monthly life allowance reminded me that I was indeed still Arthur's wife. But what did being a wife matter? I was never embraced, never cared for. In the eyes of others, I was glamorous, frequenting exclusive venues and carrying limited edition handbags. But only I knew I was living a widowhood marriage, consumed by loneliness every night in this cavernous house. Today, I finally decided to end it all. Ding dong. The heavy door slowly opened, and a tall, impeccably built figure walked in. Arthur. He was wearing a flawlessly tailored dark blue suit, his buttons meticulously fastened, emphasizing his broad shoulders and long legs. His dark hair was neatly slicked back, his expression severe, radiating a powerful aura that kept everyone at a distance. His deep eyes swept across the living room, finally landing on me on the sofa. His gaze was indifferent, devoid of any warmth, as if he were looking at a stranger. My fingers tightened, but I forced myself to lift my chin, my voice calm. Come in. Arthur walked in with a steady pace, each step feeling like a hammer blow to my heart. His eyes quickly spotted the document on the coffee table. He didn't ask or show any surprise, he simply stood still, waiting for me to speak. A surge of bitterness rose in my chest. I forced myself to speak coldly. 3 years ago, we married for the sake of our family's interests. After the wedding, you took off, and haven't been back in 3 years. Arthur, this marriage is meaningless. I want to end this ridiculous widowhood life. As I finished, I reached out abruptly, grabbed the document from the table, and slammed it down in front of him. Clap! The thick paper spread out on the glass surface. The words divorce agreement reflected the blinding, cold light of the crystal chandelier, stabbing into my heart and stinging the accumulated grievances and reluctance of the past 3 years. Arthur finally reacted. He bent down, his long fingers picking up the document. And slowly sat on the sofa, his posture relaxed, as if the paper in his hand were a business contract, not a divorce agreement. He flipped open the first page, saw my signature, and a cold smile curved his thin lips. A divorce? His low voice carried a hint of sarcasm, as if mocking my childishness. That laugh ignited my fury. I snapped my head up. What, are you reluctant? Or is it that you can't bear to leave your countless paramours outside? Arthur's expression remained unchanged, as if he had long anticipated this. He put down the document, took out his phone from his suit pocket, and opened a file. The light from the screen illuminated his cold, chiseled profile, making my heart flutter with alarm. Eleanor, I respect your decision, he said softly, yet the words felt like repeated blows to my chest. However, before that, you should review the prenuptial agreement. Those words were like a sharp weapon, striking my Achilles heel. My heart sank, and I instinctively clenched the hem of my dress. Arthur's gaze was icy. He read in a low voice, according to the prenuptial agreement, upon divorce, you will no longer be entitled to any resources or financial expenditures provided by the Barkley Group, including but not limited to the right to use the private jet, payment of luxury item bills, and residence in the properties under the family name. He read through the clauses, his voice as flat as if he were reciting a shopping list. But every word was a heavy hammer blow to my heart. What I was most proud of was this inexhaustible wealth and glamorous life. But now, this man was coldly telling me that none of it belonged to me, it was merely his charity. My voice caught in my throat, and my eyes immediately became red-rimmed. I had never realized so clearly that I was nothing more than a bird kept in a gilded cage. Arthur looked up, his eyes deep as an abyss, radiating an undeniable dominance. Well? Are you truly willing to give all of this up? His stare made me feel suffocated. My face turned pale, and I bit down hard on my lip, the taste of blood spreading in my mouth. My gaze fell on the signature on the document, and my heart felt ripped apart. I had thought I could leave with style, but reality told me starkly, once I turned around, I would be nothing. Wait. My voice trembled, almost inaudible. I think I can endure it a little longer. Arthur put his phone away, his expression reverting to its usual coldness. He stood up, his tall figure towering over me like an unshakable king. In that case, I will also be living in this house from now on. With those words, he turned and walked toward the bedroom, his demeanor cold and casual, as if the storm that just passed had nothing to do with him. I sat stunned on the sofa, my fingers still tightly clutching the divorce agreement. I had thought I could use this document to gain the upper hand, but in the end, I had lost completely, and he had effortlessly turned the tables on me. I didn't sleep all night, faint shadows hovered under my eyes. Arthur's announcement of cohabitation the night before had kept me awake, his cold declaration echoing repeatedly in my ears. But when I walked downstairs, a heavier blow awaited me. A maid, with her head bowed, politely placed a morning paper on the dining table. The banner headline, printed in jarringly bold type, read, Barkley Group heir Arthur Barkley meeting with starlet Sophia at midnight, romance suspected. Two high-definition photos on the page were particularly glaring. One showed Arthur in a black suit, aloof and noble, next to the strikingly beautiful Sophia, who wore a red gown and an ambiguous smile. The other showed Sophia leaving the hotel with what appeared to be a man's jacket draped over her shoulder. My fingers clenched, almost digging into the newspaper. The frustration in my chest burned like fire, yet I couldn't utter a sound. Arthur walked calmly into the dining room, unfastening his cufflink. His every move was cool and composed, as if the person in the photos was not him at all. What is this? I couldn't suppress it, my voice trembled. Arthur glanced at it indifferently, his handsome face utterly unfazed. Publicity stunt. Publicity stunt? I sneered, my eyes red-rimmed. Arthur, do you know the whole world is laughing at me right now? They're saying I'm just a shield for you, and that the woman you truly love is that glamorous actress. My voice abruptly rose, as if to expel all the grievances of the past 3 years. Arthur's expression remained unchanged. He simply set down his coffee cup, his voice hard. So? What do you want to do about it? My breath caught sharply in my chest. I hadn't received an explanation or comfort, but this casual indifference. The air solidified. I suddenly realized, in this marriage, I had perhaps never been treated as an equal partner. A few days later, at the Barkley Group sponsored charity auction. The venue was magnificent, with crystal chandeliers and a gathering of celebrities. Media reporters lined the red carpet, flashbulbs popping incessantly. Sophia attended in a spectacular gown, vividly striking, drawing countless photographers the moment she arrived. She held her chin up confidently, as if certain that the entire spotlight belonged to her. Reporters swarmed her, microphones extended. Miss Sophia, is your relationship with Mr. Arthur exactly as the reports suggest? We hear you frequently visit the Barkley family's private estate. Has this been approved by the elders? Sophia covered her mouth and chuckled, her eyes sparkling. Deliberately being evasive, regarding Arthur, I can only say, he is indeed very special. I was sitting in front of the vanity mirror, holding a design sketch of mine from over 10 years ago. 3 years of an empty marriage had nearly extinguished all my passion, but seeing these works, I suddenly realized that what I once loved had never truly left. I can't go on like this. I need independence, I murmured, my gaze resolute. A few hours later, I arrived at a bustling commercial street, my eyes fixed on the fashion design company called Glamour. In the interview room, the interviewer was a woman in her 50s, a sharp-eyed executive. Miss Eleanor, your resume is quite unique, but I notice you have virtually no work experience over the past 3 years, the interviewer said, raising an eyebrow, her voice cold. I bit my lip but held her gaze. I admit I haven't held a dedicated job these years, but I've been continuously sketching designs, observing fashion trends, and taking some private courses. I want to start over. I want to create my own brand through my own abilities. The interviewer frowned slightly, appearing unconvinced. Your background is very unusual, she paused, a socialite like you could have been an executive designer 3 years ago with a single phone call. Are you sure you want to start as an assistant? I nodded, my tone firm. I want to start from the bottom. Only then can I truly learn and prove myself. The interviewer was silent for a moment, then finally showed a slight smile. All right, you're hired. You start tomorrow. On my first day, I truly felt the cruelty of the professional world. My colleagues watched me coldly, whispering privately, I heard she's a spoiled heiress. Hasn't worked in 3 years, and now she's here taking our jobs. Assistant? Please, I doubt she'll last a month. I lowered my head to organize fabric samples, but I was gritting my teeth inside. I must show them I'm not just a rich girl who only knows how to spend money, I'm a real designer. In the afternoon, I was assigned to design an evening gown for a new celebrity client. You need to complete the initial draft for this piece in 2 days and show it to me tomorrow, the supervisor said coldly before walking away. I looked at the fabric in my hand, my fingers trembling slightly. The pressure was a boulder pressing on my chest, but I clenched my jaw, past design inspirations flashing in my mind, the skirt flowing like water, the shoulder line subtly tapered, a unique neckline, the overall look modern yet elegant. A few hours later, I finished the initial sketch and presented it to the supervisor. The supervisor looked at the drawing, her brows furrowed. Miss Eleanor, your design, it has ideas, but the lines aren't clean enough, and the color combination is not mature. Assistant? Do you think you can handle the pressure? The fashion industry is not a society gala. I bit down hard, my eyes determined. I will revise it. I will make it better. In the following weeks, I was immersed in the struggle between design and reality. I never told Arthur, even though his business empire could have arranged the best resources for me instantly. During one important client fitting, the celebrity guest complained the dress wasn't stylish enough, stating bluntly, "This design is too mediocre, absolutely no highlight." My heart tightened, my face pale, but I looked up and responded firmly, "I will change it. I will make it stand out." Back in the office, I spent several consecutive nights revising the draft, my fingers blistered, my eyes swollen, but I never gave up. One night, while I was pulling an all-nighter to modify a design, a message suddenly popped up on my phone, "You can bring your work to the group's designer summit tomorrow." The signature, Arthur. I stared at the screen, my heart rate surging. He knew. He had seen my hard work. There was no condescension or sarcasm, but a silent offer to give me an opportunity to showcase my talent. This completely surprised me. The morning sun streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows onto my workbench, where fabric, pencils, and sketch papers lay scattered. My fingers were still slightly trembling. I had been up almost all night, preparing for the designer summit opportunity. I took a deep breath, tidied up my initial drafts, and checked every stitch and proportion. The nervousness in my chest was like a flame, but the passion within was stronger than anything. Today, I would show everyone, I was not just a rich girl who only knew how to spend money, I was a real designer. In the afternoon, the glamour company arranged a private car to the summit. The event was held in the ballroom of a 5-star hotel downtown. Under the dazzling crystal chandeliers, designers busily moved around, and the Barkley Group logo was prominently displayed on the backdrop of the exhibition area. The moment I stepped into the hall, I thought quietly, "This is my stage." However, before I could settle in, I felt the various glances from my colleagues, suspicion, contempt, and even jealousy. Look, there she is, the heiress, thinking she can get on stage with a few sketches? Assistant? How long will she even last? I clenched my jaw, pictures of countless nights of revisions flashing in my mind, fabric torn up, colors rejected, fingers blistered. My fingertips were shaking, but my eyes were steady, my steps firm. The summit officially began. The host walked onto the stage and enthusiastically announced, "Welcome designers from all over the country to showcase their work." One designer after another presented their pieces, flashbulbs constantly flickering. When my turn came, I took a deep breath and slowly pushed my display stand forward. Everyone was watching, heiress? Or a talented newcomer? I gently pulled back the curtain, revealing the gown I designed. The skirt was soft and flowing, the shoulder line slightly tapered, the neckline unique, and the color combination bold yet elegant. The overall look was both modern and full of feminine power. Whispers rose from the audience, "This design, it's much more sophisticated than I expected." Who made it? It's the new assistant? A senior design critic walked up, reaching out to touch the fabric. Their eyes shifting from doubt to surprise, clean lines, precise structure, perfect overall proportions. This has great potential. My heart jumped. I bowed slightly, my voice unusually firm, "Thank you, Judge. I will continue to perfect it." Just then, Arthur stood quietly in the corner backstage, dressed in his dark blue suit, his gaze like a sharp hawk. There was no applause or praise, he was just watching me silently. I didn't know that he had quietly contacted the summit organizers, arranging the best display position for me and laying the groundwork with the key critics. On the stage, my shoulders gradually straightened, my gaze fixed. The flashlights, the judges, the doubts from my colleagues, all faded away like smoke, leaving only myself and my design. After several rounds of presentations, the judge announced, "Today's Best New Designer Award goes to Miss Eleanor." The whole hall was in an uproar. The heiress? The assistant? She had won the most professional recognition. My heart pounded, a slight smile appearing on my face. I looked up at the audience, my eyes meeting Arthur's exactly. He gave a slight nod, his gaze free of mockery, replaced by a rare flicker of appreciation. A warmth spread through me. I took a deep breath and murmured to myself, I really can do this. After the evening event, I returned to the office, where my colleagues' attitudes had subtly changed. She actually has real talent. Assistant? We can't underestimate her anymore. I sat quietly at my desk, looking at the certificate from the summit, running my fingers over it. A self-confidence I had never known surged within me. Arthur's message popped up on my phone screen again. Well done. Your effort is worth the recognition. I looked at the message. I thought, I am indeed doing very well, but unfortunately, my effort is to be good enough to leave him. In the days following the summit, I was completely immersed in work and design sketches, but my phone kept buzzing with unexpected notifications, not just client inquiries, but various media invitations as well. One direct message was particularly eye-catching. Hello, Miss Eleanor. I'm the program director for Fashion Focus. We noticed your outstanding performance at the Barkley Group Designer Summit and would like to invite you to be on our show to let more viewers learn about your design philosophy. I froze, my eyes lighting up. This show was the most influential fashion variety program in the country. Being on it meant a geometric increase in exposure. I hesitated for a moment, the memory of countless nights spent revising drafts flashing through my mind. I took a deep breath and replied, yes, I accept the invitation. A few days later, I stepped onto the set of Fashion Focus. The lights were brilliant, staff hurried back and forth, and cameras focused on every guest. I felt a slight nervousness, but thinking of my success at the summit, a smile gradually appeared. The show began, and the host enthusiastically introduced me. This is the designer who recently made a splash at the Barkley Group Summit, Miss Eleanor. Her work has already created a sensation in the industry. As soon as the words left his mouth, flashbulbs erupted from the audience, and the eyes of the guests and viewers were all fixed on me. However, just as I was presenting my work, news suddenly came from backstage. Media outlets on social platforms had dug up that my name, Eleanor Capet, came from the Capet family, accompanied by a provocative caption, "Can a rich heiress succeed in the fashion world? Or is she just relying on her background?" My heart sank, and my fingers trembled slightly. I knew that if public opinion derailed this show, it would destroy the efforts and reputation I had just begun to build. Just as I was at a loss, Arthur quietly appeared at the recording site. Without making a grand entrance or openly intervening, he simply spoke a few low words to the program manager. Please focus the spotlight on Eleanor's work and creativity. Other private matters should not be discussed. At the same time, he instructed his assistant to suppress the copycat sensationalism from various tabloids and to investigate the person behind this negative news. A few minutes later, the director received instructions, the cameras quickly adjusted, and the program officially began focusing on my design philosophy, the inspiration for my sketches, and the details of the creation process. The camera switched, showing close-ups of me skillfully cutting fabric and adjusting lines, as the host guided the audience to a close understanding of every detail. I gradually relaxed and spoke confidently. My gaze resolute, my design aims for more than just aesthetics, it's about expressing female confidence and strength. Every piece is a concept I want to convey. Thunderous applause erupted from the audience, and flashbulbs flashed continuously. The live audience and judges looked at me with newfound respect, and social media was buzzing. This is the real deal. Arthur watched silently from a corner, his eyes holding a rare softness. No one knew that, from behind the scenes, he had effortlessly quelled the storm using his influence, preventing public opinion from harming me further. I was surprised by Arthur's presence when I returned backstage. Arthur's phone rang suddenly. He answered it, and his assistant reported from the other end. It's a small-time tabloid reporter who was previously sued by the Barkley Group for libel. They held a grudge and tried to slander the madam. I walked toward him step by step. He responded to the call, I understand. Handle it discreetly. I stopped next to him and asked, what are you doing here? Arthur, I have some connections with the director, I came to check in. I heard you did very well. After a brief exchange, Arthur left. When I was about to leave after the show, the program assistant approached me and said, a reporter called to apologize to you. He said he should have used your identity to spread rumors that you were succeeding based on merit. And he hopes Mr. Barkley will forgive him. Arthur fixed this for me? I was surprised again. The day after the show aired, I received a flood of private messages and emails first thing in the morning. Major fashion brands, celebrity agents, and fashion media all came knocking. Miss Eleanor, we hope to collaborate on a seasonal collection to showcase your influence among young women. Could you custom design several gowns for my upcoming red carpet event? Each message made my heart race. 3 years ago, I might have only been able to rely on my affluent background. Now, I was earning genuine recognition based on my design and ability. In the afternoon, I was scheduled for an important business meeting. Inside the conference room, the brand representative stared at me with expectation. Miss Eleanor, your work on fashion focus was astonishing. We believe you can inject new vitality into our brand. I replied calmly, thank you for the recognition. I hope every garment I design can make women feel utterly confident when they wear it. The negotiation concluded smoothly. My phone screen suddenly lit up, a text message from Arthur, saw your performance on the show. Very impressive. See you later tonight. I paused, my fingertips slightly warm. I knew this message wasn't simple concern, but a subtle form of affirmation. In the early evening, when I returned to the office with some samples, I found Arthur waiting for me in the office. You must be exhausted, he said in a flat tone, yet with a rare gentleness. I smiled, a little, but it's all worth it. Perhaps because of my small professional success and the knowledge of Arthur's covert assistance, my attitude toward him was much better than before. Arthur reached out and gently organized my scattered design drafts, his movements soft and practiced. You truly put your heart into this. I'm pleased to see you achieving all of this independently. I looked up at him, a warm current flowing through me. 3 years ago, I thought I was just a rich girl kept in a gilded cage. But now I realized, even in front of Arthur, I had found my own footing. Just then, my phone rang. It was the brand representative. Miss Eleanor, the media is already reporting on your designs. We'd like you to attend next week's brand collaboration launch and do a live presentation. Clutching the phone, my gaze was determined. Yes, I will be there. Arthur stood beside me, watching quietly. Seeing the confidence in my expression, the corner of his mouth curved upward, a rare softness flashing in his eyes. It seems you are truly stepping onto a stage that is yours alone. I looked back at him, a complex emotion in my heart, gratitude, surprise, and a touch of inexplicable affection. Night fell, the city lights glittering brightly. I walked home alone. The messages popping up on my phone continued to remind me of the countless opportunities and challenges awaiting me. I smiled slightly, tightened my grip on the design sketches in my hand, and whispered to myself, I can do this. I will definitely achieve it. A few days after the show aired, my social media following skyrocketed like a fire taking off. My photos, design work, and show clips were shared by countless netizens, with comments praising my talent and marveling at my elegance. This designer is so beautiful. Talent plus great looks, the perfect combination. At the same time, fans also dug up the news that I was the wife of the Barkley Group CEO. Her husband Arthur is so handsome. Marrying her, they're the perfect couple. However, beneath the glamorous comments, voices of doubt lurked. Netizens brought up the rumors between Arthur and Sophia. Wait, wasn't Arthur rumored to be with Sophia? How can he be doing that when his wife is still around? A woman with a cheating husband who doesn't divorce and yet preaches female empowerment, isn't that a bit hypocritical? I stared at the phone screen, a heavy feeling washing over me. I finally understood that my recent popularity wasn't just built on hard work and talent. Arthur was involved. Every rumor, every internal conflict within the group, could unknowingly pull me into a vortex. Recalling the incident with the small-time tabloid reporter, my brows slightly furrowed. I called the variety show staff and found out that the reporter had spread rumors about me precisely because of an old grudge with the Barkley Group. All of this was because of Arthur's identity. I had become an innocent casualty. My dissatisfaction with Arthur intensified. I buried myself in work, staying late every day, and using it as an excuse to live in the family's house closer to the office. A few days later, the Barkley Group held its annual gala. The event was incredibly luxurious. Crystal chandeliers sparkled beneath the towering ceiling, and various celebrities gathered in the magnificent ballroom. Sophia was also present, dressed elaborately, her eyes holding a mix of provocation and intimacy. She walked toward Arthur, speaking to him softly, her eyes smiling. Arthur frowned slightly, about to reply, when I was also invited into the hall. Because of my recent high profile, and with all 3 protagonists of the rumors present, media reporters followed like shadows, flashbulbs popping non-stop. I maintained a graceful smile and a composed expression, but the nervousness in my heart couldn't completely dissipate. Tonight, all eyes were on me. Suddenly, Sophia subtly steered the conversation with an intimate tone. Arthur, you've been so busy lately, and Miss Eleanor's designs are very striking. Your relationship as a couple. Before she could finish, Arthur turned and walked toward me. He took my hand, his voice low but clear. Eleanor is my only wife, and my only beloved. The entire hall instantly fell silent. Sophia's smile froze on her face, as if she had been struck. Arthur's gaze was firm as he swept over all the guests present, continuing, the person I love is only her. This is beyond dispute. I ask all media friends to stop spreading non-existent rumors. This concerns the reputation of the Barkley Group, and we have an excellent legal team. I looked up slightly, my heart rate accelerating. I saw a profound, unwavering determination in Arthur's eyes and felt a sense of security I had never known before. Sophia's face was pale. Her clenched fists trembled slightly beneath her velvet gloves. She hadn't expected Arthur to publicly defend his wife and completely push her into an awkward position. Media reporters quickly captured the moment, flashbulbs going off simultaneously. The social network instantly exploded. Arthur made it official. Eleanor is the only wife. This is true high society love. It's incredibly sweet. I'm shipping them. I'm shipping them. The enthusiasm of the netizens nearly set the entire internet on fire. Watching the overwhelming comments on my phone, a warmth rushed through me. This time, I finally understood that I not only possessed talent but was also genuinely seen and protected by Arthur. However, beneath the dazzling lights of the gala, a sliver of clarity remained in my heart. The road ahead won't be smooth. Rumors, public opinion, and the complex grievances of the elite world could sweep into my life again at any moment. But at this moment, I tightly gripped the clutch in my hand, held my head high, and my eyes were resolute. No matter what, I will rely on myself and be seen for who I truly am. Following the public declaration, my exposure continued to climb. All sorts of brands and design companies extended offers, and I received one particularly special collaboration invitation to launch a limited edition co-branded collection for a globally renowned luxury brand. I sat in my studio, handling fabric swatches and color cards, my heart pounding. Sunlight streamed through the large picture window, reflecting on the design sketches I was meticulously detailing. This is the opportunity I've always dreamed of. I have to do my absolute best, I murmured to myself, tapping my fingers lightly on the desktop. A few days later, the initial design proposal was complete. I personally took the work to the brand headquarters for presentation. In the conference room, the brand director and design team carefully scrutinized my drafts, their expressions gradually relaxing. Miss Eleanor, your design is very modern while maintaining the combination of feminine elegance and strength. We are willing to move forward with the collaboration, the director said sincerely, a flash of surprise and admiration in his eyes. I suppressed my excitement and nodded gently, thank you. I will give it my all. Just as I was immersed in the joy of my career breakthrough, Arthur's figure appeared at the studio door. Dressed in a dark suit, his step steady, his gaze landed on the design sketches in my hand. Good performance, his deep voice instantly quieted the room. I looked up slightly, my heart rate quickening. Thank you. Did you come to see me? Arthur walked closer, his gaze serious and undeniable. You are doing well. You must seize this opportunity. I want no one to underestimate your hard work. He slightly extended his hand, seemingly wanting to tidy a corner of the messy fabric by my side. The movement was gentle and careful, yet carried an unshakable authority. My cheeks flushed slightly, and a sense of security I had never known before welled up inside. This wasn't charity based on background, but genuine attention and protection. However, the turmoil in elite circles had not ceased. The moment Arthur's public defense of his wife was released, the media's focus turned to Sophia, subtly accusing her of being a homewrecker interfering with a sweet marriage. Under public attack, she could only issue an apology, claiming the promotional rumors were merely to solidify her endorsement status with the Barkley Group. Simultaneously, discussions about Arthur and me on social media grew more heated. Fans went wild for my talent while praising Arthur's discreet protection. A consensus nearly formed in the public sphere. I was truly someone who reached the spotlight through ability, and Arthur was my steadfast support. I stood backstage at the new collection launch, holding the final limited edition gown. The lights, flashbulbs, and the audience's anticipation made my heart beat faster involuntarily. Just months ago, I was anxious about whether I could start my own business and prove myself again. But now, everything was in my hands, my co-branded collection was successfully completed, and feedback from clients and the media was almost universally complimentary. I could finally say, rightfully, I reached the spotlight through my own merit. Just as I was soaking in this sense of achievement, Arthur quietly appeared backstage at the launch. The man who was usually aloof and unreachable had a complex look in his eyes now, his brow slightly furrowed. 3 days prior, in the study at home, he had inadvertently seen my notebook, which read, "Once career goals are achieved, I can file for divorce from Arthur and end this loveless marriage." Arthur's breath hitched slightly. It turned out that my every step of effort, every moment of persistence, was aimed at achieving independence and ultimately leaving. He waited silently for the launch to end, then walked toward me with a steady, powerful stride. "Eleanor, can you come somewhere with me?" Arthur drove me to a private seaside villa. He opened the door. Inside, instead of luxurious furniture, there was a huge studio. Various design sketches covered the walls, and the table was filled with design tools. "This is a gift I prepared for you," Arthur's voice held a touch of bitterness. "I bought this land for you and established your exclusive design studio." Arthur walked slowly up to me, speaking in a low, sincere tone. "I'm sorry. I was too cold over the years, making you feel that our relationship was just formality and a transaction. I overlooked your efforts and your feelings. I looked at everything before me, my eyes welling up. This was more than just a studio, it was Arthur's commitment and support for me. I knew he had done more than just this." My eyes flickered slightly, a wave of bitterness washing over me. But I remained composed. "If you had continued to be so cold, I definitely would have left. 3 years ago, I chose marriage for family interests, but I wanted to leave because I never truly felt that you cared." Arthur took a deep breath, his voice deep and earnest. "And this time, I've seen you fighting for your dream. Watching you gain independence step by step, I realized that you are worth my wholehearted love and protection. I don't want to miss you anymore, Eleanor. I hope you can give me a chance to make up for the years of cold silence." I thought back to Arthur's silent support for my work, his protection during the media storm, his subtle concern at every crucial moment, a warmth I had never expected. I looked up gently, my eyes firm yet soft. "I see your sincerity, and I see your effort. As long as you are willing to stop being cold and genuinely care for me, I am willing to stay with you." A joy that was hard to conceal flashed in Arthur's eyes. He reached out and took my hand, his grip firm yet warm, conveying certainty. "Thank you, Eleanor. From now on, I will wholeheartedly protect you and walk this path with you." Our gazes met in the air, our heartbeats sinking at that moment. All the pressure and misunderstandings dissolved away. I leaned against Arthur and whispered, "I've never felt the security of being cared for like this before." Arthur lowered his head and gently kissed my forehead. "From now on, that security belongs only to you." The setting sun streamed through the picture window into the studio, casting a warm and resolute light on our intertwined figures. After enduring misunderstanding, indifference, independence, and trials, we finally found the happiness that truly belonged to us.